Welcome to the final part in our breathing series, or it might be the final part-ish. Today, we are going to be taking everything we've learnt about breathing and look at how we can work it into our everyday practice routine. Due to the epic largeness of this topic, I've actually decided to break it down into kind of like a mini-series so that you can jump to the video that will best suit you. This is part A, back to basics, or breathing fundamentals. It's great for beginners or for anyone who really just wants to revise like solid, concrete, this is how to breathe, which can be beneficial no matter what level of playing you are. Part B is designed more for intermediate players and is really looking at honing your breathing skills. It's also going to be very beneficial for anyone looking to transition into playing one of the low flutes, because believe it or not, they require even more air, which is just insane. After B, you get C. So part C is for advanced players and it is a bit crazy, but it's useful, so I think it's useful. Hopefully you will too. And then after that, I may or may not, I have not decided, do a video about straws and how you can actually use a straw to help you breathe, because it's a very interesting topic, which I use a lot in my teaching, so I think you guys might enjoy it as well. And after that, you'll be totally sick of breathing, so we will move on to something completely different. If you missed any of the earlier videos in this series, then please take a moment to jump down to the description and catch yourself up, because without them, you won't know the mechanics behind how to do these exercises. But now, on to how to practice breathing. Here are every flautist's ultimate breathing goals. Number 1. To be able to take a deep, fast, and quiet breath. Number 2, to be able to use your air efficiently. And number 3, to not have to consciously think about breathing, or as I like to call it, to have your breathing on autopilot. Now, these are massive, kind of super duper long-term goals, so we need to break them down even further and make them smart. Smart being specific, measurable, achievable, timed, and relevant. I reversed the last two, but that's okay, you get the idea. So, the specific components of this goal are deep breath, fast breath, quiet breath, easy breath, efficient or controlled breath, and autopilot. To make them measurable, we turn them into questions. So, question number 1, how much time can I hold a note or musical phrase for, and how long do I actually need to be able to do it? Question 2, how much time do I need to give myself to breathe in order to get through a musical phrase, and how much time does my music actually give me to breathe? Question 3, how much noise is my breath making, and how much noise should it make? Number 4, on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard do I find it to take a deep, quiet, and fast breath? 0 being easy peasy, 10 being ridiculously hard. And number 5, how often do I find myself needing to breathe in my pieces? Which follow on from that with how often does the music want me to breathe? Because they can often be two very different things. And number 6, do I need to consciously think about and remind myself to breathe? In order to achieve or improve in these areas, we then find specific exercises that address each question, which we will get to in just a moment. To make this goal relevant, we always try to apply it to the pieces that we're working on. So, for example, I might take one of my pieces and find the longest musical phrase in it, see if I can play it in one breath, and then be like, oh, okay, whoops, I can't, that's all right. I need to expand my breath capacity, and then you do the exercises and you jump back to the musical phrase to see, and you sort of track your progress. But we're coming to tracking progress very soon. Next, you need to set a deadline. It's not actually a bad thing, even though it sounds like a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. And it's just a way of keeping yourself accountable and making sure you actually get stuff done. Otherwise, you just be like, yeah, I'll get around to it later. And trust me, you never will. I am a human. I speak from many years of being a human. I've never been anything else. And I am imparting wisdom to you. So deadlines are good. And finally, you can use your Flute journal to track your progress. I haven't talked much on the channel about Flute journals as yet, but it is essentially an A4 exercise book with no lines, because lines bug me, that we turned into a Flute journal. And I will probably make other videos about this because this is such a massive part in my teaching. All my kids have Flute journals. I have a Flute journal. It's just the benefits of it are really good. So I will make a video on that later. Make sure you subscribe so you know when it comes up, because it is like way off in the distance. Whoops, my book. Way off in the distance. I have like this massive list of content to make for you guys. I wish I could make it all at once, but I can't, and I need to just like contain my excitement. But now, without further ado, let's jump into some of my favorite breathing exercises for beginners that will help you work on all the above goals that we mentioned. The first exercise we're going to look at is from this fabulous book, Flute with a Twist, by Marianne. I don't know how to pronounce her surname, I do apologize, but it is volume 1. There are 2 volumes, and the exercise is on page 25, and this is definitely my favorite thing about this book. Now, how this exercise works, you probably can't see that on the camera, but that's okay, is it gives you short little phrases that progressively get longer and longer. It's great for beginners because it only spans between an A up to a D, that's it, so it's got a very limited note range. So it's great to get your beginner flautist to start thinking about, okay, how long can my breath stretch? How long can I push it? So to get the most out of this exercise, put it on your lovely music stand. Set your metronome for 60, so you're playing 1 note per second. Take a massive Hawaii breath. See video for part 4 in the breathing series if you have no idea what I'm talking about. And see how far you go. So this is the first one. Now, obviously for me that is not a struggle, but when I first started, that definitely would have been a struggle. I'm not going to play through all of them. I'm going to jump to the lucky last one. It might take you several months to build up to this one, but by the end of it, this is what you'll be aiming for. So you can see it's quite a lot more than what you started. Exercise 2, the longest note at your shortest dynamic. So this is one you can practice every day. At the end of the week, I want you to pull out the time you held the note for the longest, and that'll be like your week's triumph, if you will. And then each week compare the longest note you achieved, and you should watch it progressively get longer and longer over time. So to do this, you're going to use your softest dynamic, and you're going to do it on 4 different notes, so you get 4 goes. It's important to choose notes across the range of your instrument because different notes require different sorts of air, speed, and direction, and all this other stuff. Basically, it's all intertwined, so practice on different notes. Again, set your metronome to 60. Take a massive Hawaii breath, and then time yourself, which just means count the crotchets. So, 21 seconds. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that or not. I'll think about it and let you know. Exercise 3 is kind of cool. I want you to pick one of your favorite pieces of music to play, but it has to be one that's not ridiculously challenging. You need to have a good handle on the notes and the rhythm so you can focus on the breathing. Next, I want you to tee up with your amazing flute teacher and work out where really good spots would be to breathe for the music. And then every time you play this piece, you are not allowed to breathe anywhere at all except for where those breath marks are. If it's not challenging enough, you can always go back and rub some of them out just to push your breath that little bit further. And when you pause to take your breath, because this is a breathing exercise, take as much time as you need to really fill up everything with air before you proceed to the next musical phrase. And you will find that the time you need to breathe in between the different phrases actually gradually will get less and less over time. Once you've mastered this piece, pick one with longer phrases. Our final flute breathing exercise for today, exercise number 4, is one that you can practice away from your instrument, which is great. And it's also really beneficial if you need to calm yourself down. So if you're really anxious before you go on stage, or if you've just had a crazy stressful day, you can actually use this and it will help not only your flute playing, but your general overall well-being, which is kind of cool. So sometimes as flute players, we find ourselves needing to breathe not because we've run out of air in our lungs, but because our body physically needs fresh air. The air in our lungs is stale, it needs to be replaced. So this exercise will help your body get used to not breathing for longer periods of time. So you can practice this on a bus, you can practice this side of stage. I actually find that I practice it once I go to bed. So I go to bed and I just lie there and I do my breathing exercise and then I kind of fall asleep because it makes you feel really calm and relaxed. It's great. And this is how you do it. You breathe in for 4 counts, you hold it initially for 4 counts, and then you breathe out. Then you repeat, you breathe in for 4 counts, but this time you hold it for 5, and then breathe out. Breathe in again, this time hold for 6, and then breathe out. And you can keep going and going and going, but you really want to be aiming to be able to hold it in for 20 seconds, which 20 seconds is a long time. However, it's something that you will progressively build up towards. So in your practice journal, after you've done it, just jot a quick note down, like maybe the date and how long you held your breath for. Like today I held my breath for 5 seconds. And then a week later, track your progress again. So do it again and you might be like, oh, today I held my breath for 7 seconds. And progress is not always like this. You don't always go, wee, I'm improving, I've reached my goal. I find that progress is more like, oh, I'm going up and then for whatever reason it dips down, but then it sort of levels out and then it might go up again and then it might dip down, but then it goes up and then it might dip down. So it's this ongoing process and I hate to break it to you, but you will never run out of things to practice. Especially when it comes to breathing. It's just one of those fundamentals of flute playing. And those are my 4 favorite breathing exercises to use with beginners. Think of breathing exercises like you would any other form of exercise, like sit-ups or push-ups. Set a goal, start off slow, track your progress, and then once you've achieved goal 1, pick another one, pick a different exercise, otherwise you'll get really bored, and then again track your progress, and it can be a really rewarding progress. I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, then please share it with your fluting friends. Leave any comments or questions down below in the comments section. Don't forget to pick up those free resources down in the links, and I will see you in the next video. But until then, happy practicing!